So nowadays, there's a lot more people making their own breads and buns for their burgers and sandwiches, but how are you not gonna dress up your wiener, bro? Come on, it's time for that to change. So we're making hot dog buns and we're gonna talk about how to make a beautiful hot dog. I don't know why the cadence of that sounded so weird. Hot dogs are an American favorite, right? Everybody knows about them, but they're not just from America. There's plenty of sausage sandwiches everywhere, all sorts of different kinds. And I think that it's very reminiscent of all that. And I'm sure that there's some background there. But although this is a video about the buns, we have a very special guest which we're going to be talking to. Roy Choi is gonna be in the building via Zoom. So I'm very excited about that. We're gonna talk about hot dogs and all sorts of good things together. But first, let's make this, shall we?
Mask off? I'm just gonna put my mask on.
Sweet onion. Your mustard isn't $20. You're wasting your time.
As with most flippin' bread recipes, combine half a cup or 120 milliliters of warm water with half a cup or 120 milliliters of warm milk, around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Mix in 2.5 teaspoons or 9 grams of active dry yeast. Ignore the measurements that you see on my Pyrex, alright? There's a reason that it changed. And let that sit at room temperature for about 8 minutes. In the bowl of your stand mixer, combine 3.5 cups or 525 grams of bread flour, 1 tablespoon or 15 grams of granulated sugar, 1.5 teaspoons or 7 grams of fine sea salt, give that some whiskey business, slap it around till all of it's thoroughly combined. Then set that up on your stand mixer with your spiral thingy, turn that on to low speed, pour in your yeasty boy mixture, along with 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. Let that mix together, and once everything's thoroughly combined, continue to mix until your dough starts to become smooth. Once you reach that stage, you're then going to add 1 tablespoon at a time, 2.5 tablespoons or 35 grams of softened unsalted butter. Let that mix until all of it is nice and thoroughly mixed. Yeah, that does not roll off the tongue. And you've got a nice plump thicky dough. Gently shape that into a ball, grease up a bowl, plop it in your bowl, and cover that with greased plastic wrap. Let that rise at room temperature for about an hour or until it looks like a big boy like this. Doubled, yeah. Make sure to give it some love, a nice little pat, maybe a little kiss.
And then beat it down like I forgot to give you your money.
If the dough owed you money, it's so stupid. Dump your dough out onto a lightly floured work surface, and then divide the dough into 10 to 12 evenly sized pieces, depending on how big you want your buns to be. Then once you've got your pieces, carefully shape each piece into a ball, using my typical method where you keep your fingers in contact with the board while rolling around in circles, and it should form a taut skin like this. Now once you've got all your balls put together, cover your balls with a damp towel and let them rest for about 10 minutes. Now once your balls have rested, you're then going to carefully roll them into cylinders that are about 5 to 6 inches long. Thank you, Josh. Very cool. Place each cylinder onto a parchment-lined baking sheet, separated a little less than half an inch apart. That's okay. We want them to touch. They're going to rise into each other on purpose. Now, these should all fit together on one baking sheet. Once they're all lined up like this, cover them with another baking sheet or greased plastic wrap and let them proof at room temperature for about 45 minutes. Once they proof, they should look a little more plump. Brush them lightly with egg wash consisting of 1 beaten egg and a tablespoon of water, and then place them in an oven set to 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes or until beautifully golden brown like this. Now hold on, they look great, right? But as soon as they come out of the oven, you're gonna brush them generously with melted butter, and now you have a beautifully glossy golden brown hot dog bun anxiously awaiting a wiener. But not just any wiener. Well, it can be any wiener, but more specifically, I like to make my own sausages. And I do have a guide for it. It's on my YouTube channel. You guys know where to find it. I'm talking fresh ground meat, fresh stuffed sausage. I mean, surely you don't need me to show you how to make a hot dog, right? I mean, like, you can just sear them or you can grill them. This one's a bratwurst with a cognac mustard aioli, a little bit of ketchup, some diced pickles, some finely diced sweet onion, and some sliced pickled serrano. I mean, that's a fancy boy hot dog, but you can do anything that you want. And to help drive that point forward, I'd like to welcome our guest for today.
Roy, thank you so much for coming on, my man. Finally found a way to get together, and the way that we met was with hot dogs. So I was gonna ask you how you feel if I were to use sausages, bratwurst specifically, that I handmade, hand ground, stuffed myself. I could poach them right here, or we can roll with yours. How are you feeling about that?
It would definitely change the hot dog, because the hot dog that you saw and that you're replicating is from a very specific place, which is LA late night. So they're LA street dogs. It's not really that gourmet, but it's the most delicious thing you're ever gonna eat at that time of the hour.
I like the idea that it's imperfect intentionally, and I don't want to take it out of LA. So the poaching water.
Oh shit, there you go. They're not necessarily the most expensive or fancy ingredients, but the alchemy of them all together in that moment make it the most delicious thing ever.
I've got a cut bacon. I'm gonna wrap them and wrap them now. Would that be the right place to start? Should I be doing something else right now?
Probably the first place to start is wrapping them and then starting to cook them in the pan and having your mise en place ready for the onions and the peppers and all that stuff and the buns and everything else. Remember that this dish is cooked very much like street food in Austin. So, street food has many forms. It has the truck, trailer. The hot dog goes down even one more level. It's like a busser's cart. A busser's cart at a restaurant. Okay. Or they'll either use that or a shopping cart with a sheet pan. And then really everything is cooked right there on that sheet pan.
So I got my pan, I got my dogs wrapped, I got all my mise sliced and everything. So dogs in the pan next, right?
Yeah, start with the dogs first. Yep. So, because you really want to render that fat and start to create a fond and a flavor within your pan so that everything else builds from there. Ultimately, if you were on the street, you could do everything together and stay.
So they wouldn't have an offset spatula.
You got tweezers in your hand.
No, this is an offset spatula. I can't stop myself.
How's it looking in the pan?
It's looking good, man. It's starting to caramelize. We've got a lot of fat rendered out. Yeah, it smells dope. Well, I like where this is headed. I'm gonna add in the peppers, the onions, jalapenos going in.
You got that butter in there. You got the fond from the bacon. You got the bacon fat.
This smells dope. I've got all my mise. My hot dogs are done. My onions are done. Toast buns and I'm good.
Toast the buns and you're good.
Buns are going in. It's assembly time, all right? So I've got my my first set of buns are ready. Dog is on.
And then you want to squirt your sauces now.
Next we're gonna do
I like that bun. It's nice and spacious.
Yeah, it's a bit big.
ketchup. Okay, cool. So I've got ketchup, mayo, mustard.
Now put your peppers and onions and all that.
We wanna call it there.
That's it. So take a bite. Let me see how it tastes.
Okay, here we go.
There it is. That's LA at 2 a.m.
Wow.
Sometimes it just comes down to a couple peppers and onions in one pan and just a little bit of love, you know?
Thank you for bringing this to everybody here. I think a lot of the time I tend to make recipes that I'm always focused on what can I get people to do that forces them to look at it from its most basic value. But I also think it's important to remember, like, at the end of the day, you should be eating stuff that you're happy with, that you're proud of, that represents something that's important to you. So I really respect that. So I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you for that.
Thank you, man. This is fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
But do you want to know who else makes thicky dogs with their homies? This B-roll makes less and less sense. B-roll.
Alright guys, and that is it. So, we made hot dog buns. Thank you so much to Roy Choi for joining us via Zoom. It was a ton of fun, great chatting with you about hot dogs and how it all just kind of comes together in a beautiful hot doggy way. So I've got a really fun surprise. I'm moving into a new kitchen very soon. I'm just like ecstatic to show you guys. I'll be able to reveal that pretty soon here. You're gonna see it one way or another, but yeah, that feels good for today's video. I feel very happy about that. There are a lot of really amazing things in the works right now in the background that I can't quite talk about right now, and I know I always say that, but I just wanna let you guys know I'm very thankful, very grateful for you guys for helping me bring all these opportunities forward for both myself and for everybody else, really, because I get to show everybody this and share all of this with you guys, and it's just it's amazing. So very thankful for you, but without being too sappy, just want to say thank you. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Go for it.
I don't know what to say yet, but it has to come naturally to me, Bikram. You can't just prompt me like, okay, go, piggy, run. What was, whoa, 2-story Popeyes, especially in this climate. Bold, but I respect it.